Yes, welcome back to the Unstuck movement. I am your host, Rob Z. We created this platform to help you find the strategies that create the breakthrough that you're looking for in your life, to break the chains that have been holding you back. I want to thank the sponsor that makes this possible, the Connected Leaders Academy, an incredible organization of entrepreneurs and leaders. Contact Jose Escobar. Find out more about the Connected Leaders Academy. The information about our sponsor is in the bio for this episode. And you know, I love having conversations on this show that help you to learn more about people, how to deal with people, how to handle people in your life. And today is a conversation like no other. Today, we have an amazing guest on here with an amazing story of breakthrough. Diana Rodrigues, a certified NLP life coach and creator of the Kappa model, has overcome personal trauma and grief, including abuse and workplace bullying. Drawing from her experiences, she guides others towards a fulfilled life by emphasizing acceptance, forgiveness, and finding joy, even amidst heartbreak. With a diverse set of tools, Diana helps individuals transition from challenging circumstances to the lives they deserve. Coming from South Africa, I want to welcome to the Unstuck movement, Diana Rodrigues. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you, Rob, for having me.
Absolutely. I can't wait for you to share your story and to learn more about you. And, you know, we frame every single episode of the Unstuck movement with a question, because the truth is, when you ask better questions in your life, you get bigger breakthroughs in your life. So I'm going to start this off with a question for you. Is how did you forgive a narcissist? I think all of us at some point in our life come across a narcissist. We have to deal with them. We have to struggle through those relationships oftentimes. How did you forgive a narcissist in your life?
Well, you know, if you think about it, if we carry hatred and anger within us, it actually holds us back. We do not become the person that we really can be. So forgiveness sets us free. And we are able to enjoy life much more than when we focused on the anger from something that happened in the past, and we cannot move forward from that. As you said, I've been through a lot of abuse during my 12 and a half years with this narcissist. And I was one of those hypocrites that always told people, if I was in a situation like that, I would get out. But I was stuck. I could not get out. I didn't know how to get out. And yeah, my way was to find something that I could use against him. And I found that when he cheated on me. So that was my ticket out of the relationship, and very grateful for that.
You know, there's often times in our life we come in contact with people, whether we choose to or we don't choose to, where we have to be able to forgive them for things that they've done, forgive them for ways they've made us feel, forgive them for just being them, right? Because some people are just plain hard to deal with. And sometimes, at least in my own experience, we're hard to deal with ourselves. So we have to have this ability to forgive. And I struggled a lot with forgiveness up until a couple of years ago, and I really started to understand the power of forgiveness and what that meant. Dive a little bit. We're going to talk more about the dealing with a narcissist as we get on in this episode, but I think forgiveness is such an important topic because so many people resist it, shy away from it, run away from it, because at least for me, I didn't even know what it meant to forgive somebody or what that looked like. What was that journey like for you, and what does it mean to you to truly forgive somebody?
So after the relationship with the narcissist, I was married for 18 years, well, in a relationship, and then eventually married for 18 years. And then one day I came home and I found my husband had passed from suicide. And he left me a little note, and his last words on the note was, please forgive me. And I sat next to his body that night and I said, I forgive you, because I cannot carry anger within me for the decision he had made. And that's when my journey with forgiveness actually started, because it was, there's so many people and it's so easy to say I will never forgive that person. But when you say that, it's, you never say that with love. You always say it with anger and hatred.
Hmm.
And it just like toxifies your body, it toxifies your mind. So it's time to get out of the toxicity and become who you really are. Just forgive them. Maybe they didn't know what they were doing at that time. We all do things at times that we feel is right for us, but is it right for everybody else?
Really true. And I think, well, not I think, I know, the simpler we can make things, the better they get. And I think about like simplifying situations. And this is something for me when you were just saying that, like, I can't forgive this person. Like when you say, I can't forgive this person, you can't say that with love, right?
No,
So you can
no.
say like, I want to, this is the path I kind of went on, was like, I want to forgive them, but I'm not quite there yet. And then I would just start saying like, I forgive this person. I forgive them. Even if I didn't feel it, I'd say it, because me saying it led me a couple of steps closer to being able to actually forgive them. Does that make sense? Like me, even though I didn't believe it yet, I was like, I forgive them. I'm choosing to forgive them, even though I don't quite feel it. And that
And yet,
brought me closer and closer to that place of forgiveness.
a lot of people also believe that to forgive somebody, you have to say it to their face.
Mm, yeah.
Forgiveness you don't do for the other person, because the other person might not even know that they have done something wrong that you actually need to forgive them for. So for me, what worked for me was I sat down and I wrote down, I forgive Peter Pan, for instance, for X, Y, and Z that was done to me.
Mm-hmm.
So I listed everything. It wasn't just a general, I forgive Peter Pan. I sat down and I wrote down everything that I forgave that person for. And that goes for the narcissist, it goes for all the bullies at work, anybody. I mean, this is not a 2 second experiment or job, or what's the word I'm looking for? But it goes much deeper,
Yeah.
because the moment you start thinking about what went wrong, you start getting into that negative state again. But when you write down, I forgive you, it just sets you free. It's such a relief once you've done it, because I'm no longer upset about it. If did not have happened to me what happened to me when it did, I would not be the person I am today. I would
Mm-hmm.
not be the person that can go out and help others deal with it.
Yeah, right. And oftentimes when we're talking about forgiveness, we'll say to somebody, "Oh, they don't deserve forgiveness. They don't deserve it." But it's not about them deserving it. You
You,
deserve to forgive
yes,
somebody, and it's a whole. You have to flip that on its head of like, yeah, sure, you might think they don't deserve forgiveness, but you're carrying. They're letting you, or you're letting them live rent free in your head all day, every day, wherever you go. So you deserve to let that go and forgive that person. And you need to do that for yourself. So when you flip that around, it's like it's not even necessarily about them. It's about you and being
yes.
able to let that go. It's a
It's
crucial, very important part that people miss.
it's absolutely all about me. I do apologize if there's lots of noise in the background. We actually just came out in a storm here. So
I can hear, like, I thought somebody was moving a table for a second. It's the
no, it's
thunderstorm.
raining. Yeah, it's a thunderstorm. Typical
It's snowing
Joburg.
here in Pennsylvania. It's raining in South Africa. We're both dealing with it, so we're going to get through this.
That's it. It's snowing. This is
I'm going to
quiet.
forgive the weather.
Thank you very much for that. Yes. Yeah, Robert, it's all about me, because nobody can look after me the way I can look after me. And there are people that choose not to forgive, to actually carry that hatred and anger with them for the rest of their lives. And because we carry that in our bodies, many people come up with illnesses because you toxify your body. Once you start letting it go, it's like, why do you want to carry a 50-kilogram bag around with you if you don't have to?
Exactly. Yeah, because you're carrying that baggage with you. Um,
Correct.
Talking about narcissism, so the title of this is "How do you forgive a narcissist?" But first, to forgive one, you have to be able to identify one. And sometimes, well, a lot of times, I think people have a narcissist very close to them in their life, and they don't even realize it. What for you were some of the defining character traits of the narcissist that was in your life?
Well, first of all, I had to change as a person. I had to become the person he wanted me to be.
Mm,
I had to dress a certain way. I had to do things the way he wanted me to do it. I was not allowed to speak to people that he didn't want me to speak to. And I started protecting myself mentally, and I became this horrible person. It was so bad that my family, actually, my nieces and nephew, they referred to me as the witch. My family disliked me, but they did keep on loving me though, and that was important. But the person that I had in my life was very abusive to me. I could never do anything right. I was raped by this man. I was beaten up by him. I hid it all. I never spoke about anything. I was threatened at gunpoint. It was just like, what the hell? But I would never have admitted to anybody because we're embarrassed about what would people think about me if they know I'm in a relationship with somebody like that.
yeah.
And the problem wasn't with me. There was nothing wrong with me as a person, but I failed to see that. I became nobody, absolutely nobody. At one point in our relationship, I was driving the car, and the next thing I had a fist in my face for no reason. And I dropped him off at home, and I went to the police, and I said to them, "Well, this is what's happened." And yeah, I went back home and I told him I got an interdict against you. I didn't know much about interdicts. I knew the word.
What is the
Then
word?
the
What's the word?
interdict. It's
In
when what's the English word, the American word for it? When you get something that they can't get close to you, or they're not
like
allowed to.
like a restraining order or something like that.
Restraining order. Thank you very much for that. Yeah. And but I couldn't get one because we were living together. And then he actually got a bit of a fright and he stopped physically abusing me. But then the emotional abuse started. And
Mm.
emotional abuse is so much worse than physical abuse because a bruise, it takes a couple of days and it's gone. But the emotional abuse sits in the back of your mind for years and years to come.
Deanna, I just want to like acknowledge before we move on the strength that you have to talk about this stuff, the vulnerability that you have to share this stuff, because I think, and I encourage anybody who's watching this to acknowledge, like, it takes a lot to be able to talk about these things, to say them, to, it probably took you a long time to be able to talk about them and say them. So I think just hearing that, for anybody going through a situation right now with somebody who's a narcissist in their life, knowing that like you can have a voice, you can talk about this kind of stuff, and you need to talk to somebody about it and get it out in the open. But the things that you're saying, it's just so, when you talk about narcissism, the person who's committing the narcissism, I mean, whether they know it or they don't know what they're doing, it's something they're dealing with inside of them. And it doesn't be a reflection of you and who you are. But some people are drawn to narcissistic relationships. Can you speak to that at all as to why somebody might be drawn to a situation where they're wrapped up with a narcissist, and how to maybe watch out for that, how to protect themselves from that?
I'm going to speak from my own experience. I was very insecure, and I believed that I had to have somebody to look after me.
Mm.
But yeah, there are different ways. There are loving ways to look after somebody else, and then there's abusive ways. But because, and I didn't even grow up in an abusive home or anything, so it was completely new to me. I suppose if I had a background of abuse, I would have been able to deal with it much sooner. But because I didn't know how to deal with abuse, I just accepted it.
Mm.
But we have to start looking deeper within ourselves. And the problem is as well, I started blaming myself because I was not good enough. I was the bad person. I was doing everything wrong. But what about all the stuff I did right? That was never seen. It was all about me doing wrong things. He would go out drinking with his friends and came home and take the anger towards his friends, and for being drunk he would take out on me, and I would just sit there and think like, what did I do wrong? And I didn't do anything wrong. I sat at home. I was quietly sitting at home by myself. So yeah, you just have to start looking out for things. If it makes you feel uncomfortable, please let that red light go on. It's a warning signal. Listen to the warning signs. It's not difficult to spot them, but
Mm.
don't try and hide away from it. And for years, I thought, you know what, this is just for today. Tomorrow he will be a different person again. Yeah, tomorrow he was a different person. He was the nice person again. So, okay, now everything is okay again. But then it happens again and again and again. So, where do you draw the line?
Yeah. Where do you
Don't wait
draw the
12 and a
line?
half years. Don't wait 12 and a half years. Draw that line as soon as you possibly can. There are so many people out there that are experiencing relationships like that. And is it fair on you as a person? No, it's not. You deserve happiness and joy as well.
Absolutely. And I want to talk about the other side of that. That's, I think, the important part here. Like being able to detect these things and being able to deal with that's one thing, but how do you turn yourself into a different person? Because as you change, the people around you change. As you change, your circle changes, your thoughts change, your situation changes, your circumstances change. So I want to dive into that. We're going to take a second here to shout out to the Connected Leaders Academy, which, by the way, if you want to meet heart-centered people who are supportive, helping, encouraging, the Connected Leaders Academy is that group. I've met so many amazing, heart-centered, caring people that make your life better through this group. I'm not just saying that because they're a sponsor. They're a sponsor because of the difference it's made in my life. I'm going to shout them out real quick, and then we're going to be back, Deanna, in just a second to talk about the new you and how that's changed everything about your life.
Perfect.
Hi, my name is Jose Escobar, and I'm the founder and CEO of the Connected Leaders Academy. We're a growing tribe, a community of entrepreneurs all over the world, globally, all across the country, high performers, titans of industry. If you're an entrepreneur and you're looking to grow personally and professionally, scale your influence, develop your skill sets, move the needle in your business, more clients, more money, more profit, the bottom line, and of course, grow your circle and your network like never before, this is where you want to be. Join the Connected Leaders Academy today. We are scaling massively. We want to welcome you in. Check me out on Instagram and on Facebook, the @ JAESCO25. We look forward to having you join us. Take care.
So before we jumped into that break right there, I wanted to find out about the new Deanna and how everything in your life changed and how you became this new version of yourself, from somebody who was being abused by a narcissist to somebody who was being bullied at work to somebody who now lives by a quote of "I aspire to inspire before I expire," that is a great quote. I aspire to inspire before I expire. How did this transformation, this breakthrough happen for you?
Rob, we have lots of people in our lives, and there are so many people that give you a little bit here and a little bit there. And eventually, when you take all those little nuggets and you put it in a bag, you've got a bag full of nuggets, and you can use them or lose them. And I chose to actually use them because it's very easy to say, I wouldn't do it this way, I would do it that way. You should do it this way. It's very easy to tell people what they have to do. But until that time that you're ready to actually do it, you will not do it. Because you have to be prepared to actually make that change. And yeah, like I said, I was in a happy relationship afterwards for 18 years. Then he passed away. And here I am, a single woman. And what can I do? I can take life. I always say I've got two choices. I can go sit in the corner and cry about what happened to me in my life, or I can take the next step and step out there and help other people that are going through what I have been through. Because it was the abuse, then finding happiness, and then all of a sudden having to deal with grief. And that's a story on its own.
Dealing with that grief, let's go into that, because I think there's a whole process there. There's the natural process that we have to go through when grieving somebody. Whatever you feel comfortable in sharing about that, what was that grieving process like for you? How did you get through that process of losing your ex-husband?
I did join a group after about 3 months after his passing. I did join a group of people that were mourning the loss of a loved one. But after we've done that, it was like, listen, he asked me to forgive him, so I have to forgive him. I'm still alive. I have to continue. Is it an easy process? No, it's not. Because something would happen and I would think like, damn it, if you were here, you could have fixed this for me. Luckily, he did teach me how to be a handy woman as well. So I can fix things for myself. But it's the memories, the things you used to do together, the people you used to see, and all of a sudden life changed. You don't see the same people any longer. You don't do the same things. And I have to go wherever I want to go. I have to go by myself. And it's not fun. It's not an easy task. And everybody grieves differently. There's no one way to grieve. Some people just immediately jump into the next relationship. Others never get over their grief. And there's no time period, no time limit on your grief. Do I miss him? Yes, absolutely, I do miss him. But he's no longer here. I have to move forward. I am still here. And that was my strong thing that helped me through my grief, is to remind myself consistently that I am still here. I am alive, and I need to carry on with my life.
You're still there fighting through the storm, literally, because I can hear that storm raging outside. I've never heard a storm so clearly on recording before. It's kind of cool. So I'm thinking, what you said is so true, and I just, from things in my own personal life, it's like, how do you get through something? How did I get through something? Well, I was intentional about getting through it. I was intentional that, like, man, I really want to get past this thing. I don't want to live with it for the rest of my life. I don't want to hang on to it for the rest of my life. But I also at some point felt like there was no real timetable for that. I had to just kind of live the experience and work through it. And God helped me. Like, so going into prayer, joining a men's group, really devoting myself to my spiritual life was an amazingly was for me the center of getting through that. But as I was going through that, it was also the being open to being mad, letting myself be mad, letting myself be sad, letting myself grieve, letting myself be hurt, and not beating myself up for it. Because I'm somebody, which it sounds like you are, an open person. I'm pretty, as far as my personality traits go, I'm very open. And so throughout my life, I was, afraid or like ashamed of my openness because I felt it made me weak. But then as I started to learn more about personal development, it was actually vulnerability is the best strength you can have. And the thing that I thought was a curse my entire life is actually a gift, because the gift of being open encourages other people to be open. And the more open you are, the easier you can get through something. So
Very.
share that about yourself, your openness, and you mentioned like even being bullied at work and those sorts of things, which I'm sure your openness and your that part of your personality brought those bullies in. It seemed like a curse. How is that? How have you turned that into a gift for yourself?
Well, yes, at work I was bullied on numerous occasions, but what I used to do is run away from it. And running away from it is not the answer. As soon as the bullying got too much, I would get out. I would go out and find another job. And then during lockdown, I decided I've had enough. And that's when I went on my own. I've broken away completely from the job that I used to do for 30 odd years. And I started this part of my journey. So letting bygones be bygones and turn over a new page and start a new life. So don't run away from people that are bullying you. Just go in heads on and call them out on it, because the people that are being bullied often do not know that they're bullying other people. We think it's like just the person that they are. But when we start getting to know that person, we will realize that that person is getting bullied somewhere in their life.
Yeah.
It might be your manager that's being bullied from the top. It might be somebody that's being bullied at home. And because they can't have a say, they might be in a relationship with a narcissist. No, I was never a bully though. But they might be in a narcissistic relationship. And because they don't know how to express their anger, they come to work and they take it out on the people that work with them. And it's not necessary. It's not necessary. We can, if we look at people and we actually see the person and not just what they've just done to you, look deeper, try and see that person and trying to find out why is that person the way they are, because it's much deeper than just being upset today and taking it out on everybody. When I was in the corporate world, when I was in a bad mood, when I arrived at work in a bad mood, when people speak to me, I would just say, I'm in a bad mood, please just leave me until I have calmed down.
Mm-hmm.
And I would just continue with my day. But other people don't treat it that way. They need to express their anger towards somebody else.
Yeah, that's really good. And as you were saying that, I'm just taking notes. Like it's so true. And I think about this now too. It's like if somebody is bullying me, it's because they're bullying themselves, because inside of their own head, they're hating themselves on some sort of level. So that gives you compassion for that person, but it doesn't mean you have to be weak towards that person. And this is where I would get confused, because I was always a very sensitive person growing up, and as a guy, being sensitive that's a difficult one. So I was always sensitive, so I'd want to like have compassion for somebody and see their side of the story of why they might be doing it this way, but that would make me weak towards them also, because I didn't want to like make them feel worse or something like that. And I had to realize over the years, like, just because I have compassion for them doesn't mean I have to be weak. It's actually the opposite. They need somebody who's strong. They need somebody who's convicted, who has integrity. They need to see integrity from somebody else. And this is part of a core part of leadership is people will gravitate towards you when you're authentic, when you're integrous, when that's how you build trust with people. Have that confidence. And you were saying about running away is not the answer, because that's what I would do too. If it was fight or flight, I'd freeze. I'd either freeze or I'd run away. And I've learned through the years in therapy, like running away is not the answer at all. The answer is like the gift of like, when I feel like I need to run away, there's something in this situation that I need to like stay here and I need to run towards it and I need to work on it. And that's actually the answer. So this problem that keeps coming up looks like a problem that I need to get away from and it's ruining my life. But if I talk about this all the time on this show, I have a mentor. His name's Ray. Ray's just an amazing man, and I'll have him on an episode at some point in time. But he always says that everything in life is a blessing depending on how you look at it. So if you see these problems as a blessing, then you can search for like, okay, where's the blessing in this? Where's the opportunity? Life is calling me to grow. God is calling me to grow, to be a better version of myself. What can I take from the situation that's going to help me grow? Does that apply to you? Does that resonate with you? What do you think about that?
Yeah, you always have to look at a challenge to see if it's a boulder or if it's a stepping stone. And I used to see it all as boulders, and I needed to get away. So as soon as the bullying got too much for me, find another job. And it affected my self-confidence, because I am the common denominator.
Mm-hmm.
I am the person that's always getting bullied, but maybe I was just a soft target. So yeah, and then I would run away. So get away from that boulder. Now in hindsight, I look at it, and it was all those times it was all stepping stones, because it brought me to where I am today.
Absolutely. And what a journey you've gone on. So once again, I want to commend you just for being the strong person that you are today. Deanna, I love it. I love your story. And tell me just about what you do now with people. So you're an NLP coach, life coach. Talk a little bit about how do you help people now that you've turned your mess into your message? How do you impact people's lives?
I created the Kappa model, and the Kappa, it's an abbreviation for change, amnesty, which is forgiveness, play. I am also a laughter coach, so I show people how to laugh without reason. And then
let's pause there for a second. I need to know more about that. How do you laughter coach? Like if I'm being coached by you as a laughter coach, how does that work?
So to just laugh, we will bring out the inner child, and we'll just start laughing. And sometimes we don't feel like laughing, then you fake laugh. And laughter, we know laughter is the best medicine.
Yeah.
Laughter is healing.
Yeah.
But as adults, we have forgotten how to laugh. We only laugh at funny jokes, or when there's a special something that's happened and it's fun. But it's not a reason to stop you from laughing on a daily basis. You can actually go stand in front of the mirror and laugh with yourself if you've got nobody else to laugh at. There are quite a number of laughter coaches worldwide, and we do team building events. With the team building events, you also build a lot of trust, because there is a lot of eye contact, and when you've seen the eye, you've seen the soul. And most often people don't look each other in the eye. Mm-hmm. But with the laughter exercises, it's playful. You bring out the inner child. I would say to you, okay, let's just make it easy, because it's a small camera. So just take out your cell phone and you just start laughing. Your conversation is not words. Your conversation is laughter. So you just go. So everybody takes out this phone, not the actual real cell phone. You take out this fake phone and have a conversation, move around and look at other people. And the fake laughter eventually turns into real laughter. And you laugh so much that your tummy actually hurts. So, and just when my husband had just passed away, I felt, how can I smile? How can I laugh?
Yeah.
But the laughter was actually a huge part of my healing.
Oh man, I love that so much. I think, especially in our society right now, I don't know what it's like in South America or South Africa, but in America, it's like people are really having a hard time laughing at themselves. Yes. And they're having a hard time. We're taking ourselves so seriously. And when you fall into a situation where you can't laugh at yourself anymore, that is a recipe for disaster.
There
Because
is a laughter, there's a laughter exercise for laughing at yourself, where you actually point at yourself and you just laugh.
it's making me, I just laughed thinking about that. That's good. It seems ridiculous, and I also can see how it would work. Like because this is how I look at it. Like that seems so absurd that I know it has to have an impact, because when you, how am I going to say this that makes sense? At least it makes sense to me. If I'm able to laugh at nothing, then I could laugh at anything. And
Absolutely.
laughing at life is it's very important to laugh at life. Not that life can't be hard, not that you have to be serious sometimes, because you have to take things seriously, but you have to be able to laugh at life.
Exactly.
I love that.
And
That's really good.
if you don't laugh, you just become a miserable person.
Yeah. And that's what we're seeing right now. There's lots of miserable people out there.
Yes. But the more people laugh, the happier the world would be. So can we please just start as a movement around the world and everybody can just laugh?
Yeah, it's like everybody wants to, I want the world to be a better place, but they're angry and they want to make the world a better place and they're angry about it. But if you want to make the world a better place, you should be happy about it and accept people for where they're at. That's the unforgiveness comes into there, laughter comes into there. That's really good stuff. It's always, and I love this, is so true. It's the simple things in life are always the most powerful things and always the most true things. And laughter, there can't be anything more simple than laughing.
It's for free. I mean, you don't need to join anywhere. You've got it within you.
Yeah.
Since you were a baby, you've been laughing. It was not something that you had to go to school to learn about it. It came naturally. And the older we get and the more serious we get, we stop laughing because serious people are not supposed to be laughing.
And the less you
No,
laugh, the more offended you're going to be, you know?
exactly. And when you cannot be angry when you're laughing.
It's very true.
So
I have when I'm very angry though laughed. And
yes,
it hasn't broken the anger, but it has lifted. There's some point in there, like when you get really angry, you can also like fall into a laughing fit because you realize how ridiculous it is to be this angry about something. At least I've experienced that. I don't know about you, but I've experienced that.
and the laughter is not going to solve your problem. But because it gives you the feel-good hormones and everything, you're going to feel so much better afterward that you can actually look at your problem from a different angle.
Yeah.
And then it's like, it was so stupid and so simple to actually resolve it.
Right.
But because you're so angry and you can't get it, you will never get the answer while you're in that state. But once you've had a bit of laughter and you feel lighter again, then, oh, here's the answer right in front of me.
That's cool. I love that. So if somebody wants to reach out to you and talk to you about all of the different things that you do, including laughter coaching, what is the best way to get a hold of you?
The best way will be to go to my website, which is www.dianarodrigues.co.za. All my links are on there, and they can reach out to me from there.
And all the links are also in this episode. So if you go to the bio, you'll find the links there. Diana, this has been an awesome conversation. I really enjoyed this. I'm glad that I learned that laughter coaching was a thing, because that's so interesting to me. And your story's amazing. I just want to thank you for sharing, and thank you for being a part of the Unstuck movement.
Rob, thank you so much for having me. And like I say, let's make the world a better place. And I live by my motto. I aspire to inspire before I expire.